How to save money on your car tires.
In today's video, I'm back with you again here talking tires. Not necessarily what to buy, although I'll touch that briefly at the end, but more of how to get these to last the longest you possibly can. I know it always feels like I have to replace these far more often than I like, and they always cost far more than what I'm hoping to pay. So you might not know this unless you follow the channel really closely, but my wife and I have 11 different vehicles through our several businesses we run. Because of that, I've learned several different tricks to help prolong the life of my tire. Today I'm going to give you 10 different things you can do to help prolong the life of your tire. Let's get into it. Number one, and there's actually kind of three parts I'll do to this, which is really simply rotate your tires. Now this should be done depending on your manufacturer and what your specific tire is, usually about every 7 to 8, maybe 10,000 miles, potentially as soon as every 5,000. Now rotating the tires is usually just bringing the ones that are on the front and putting them there on the back, and then of course ones in the back up in the front, but potentially depending on your kind of car, they could rotate quadrilaterally all around the car. And this leads me to the 1A, the second part of this. Part of the reason you want to rotate on a regular basis is your tires are never going to wear perfectly even across all four of them. Now your tires shouldn't be wearing different left from right, but it's especially normal for your rear tires to wear differently than your front wheel. You want to get to the point where you're replacing all four of your tires at the same time. Now I've been there before where I felt like I didn't have the budget financially in this particular week to replace all of them, so I'll just do the two that are worse. The problem with that is replace just two, now your car is going to be wearing even differently. Now, if you have to, I get it. I've been there. Make sure you're always doing that, the fronts or the backs. You never want to have different treads on the left to the right. That will most definitely wear your tires at an uneven rate, and you'll be replacing them even faster the next time around. The exception to this would be if I had a tire blowout. I had a tire that I completely had to replace, and I was later on in its life. If that's the case, I might replace that one and another one. Two of them, either in the front or in the back at the same time, to keep at least that wear even from front to back. But if my tire was at all fixable or patchable, I would definitely patch it to keep that even tread on the left and the right. And the last part of that, kind of like the 1B, you want to make sure that you're checking your tires on a regular basis, which if you are rotating them every 7,000 to 8,000 miles, keep an eye out for any unevenness or any misalignment, anything like that in the tire where you're wearing one side more than the other, and you'll be able to catch that before it snowballs and you're ruining tires 5, 10, 15, 20,000 miles sooner than what they should have lasted. Number two, we'll get down to the nitty gritty of what actually causes tire wear. Two main things. The first of which is going to be just actual friction, which really leads to the second one is heat. Heat and friction, which friction is going to generate heat, are what are always going to take life away from your tire. So what creates friction and its byproduct heat? Number two is weight. You can't really limit the actual weight of your car, but if you carry things for work on your car, like ladders or big cargo boxes, you're pulling trailers, things like that, just know the more weight, the more friction on the ground and the faster you're wearing your tires. It's not uncommon for me to carry a sizable load in my vehicle, whether that's literally ladders on my truck, or even just things I'll just be transporting across town, one of my bigger vehicles like the Land Rover here. The more weight you have, it's wearing your tires faster. At all possible, whenever you can, get that weight out of your car or off your truck. Then there's the weight that you may not always be thinking of, which is that of your passengers. Your passengers, of course, add weight. The average person weighs 200 pounds, and on average, you have 3-4 people in your car. You could easily talk about adding another 1,000 pounds or more, which if you think about it, that will have a direct correlation to how fast you're burning tires. So next time, before you agree to give that coworker a ride, just know it comes with a price, and a price greater than just energy consumption. One of the main reasons EVs like my Cybertruck here burn tires faster, they are significantly heavier than ICE vehicles like this. Now sometimes EV enthusiasts, which I kind of describe myself as, are quick to deny that. But the studies are out now and the data is locked in. Upon average, electrical vehicles burn tires 20 to 30% faster than that of typical combustion vehicles. It's factual. They are heavier, they do burn tires at a 20 to 30% rate faster. Number three, we're gonna come back to electric vehicles and why these burn tires so much faster is torque. I don't know if there's anything on this list that will add up faster than this. Available torque on electric vehicles allows you to spin your tires quickly up front. And because you have that weight, again, of the excessive battery, you are much more likely to burn rubber. Literally, you've heard the expression burn rubber. That's actually what you're doing when you're taking off fast at a stoplight, stop sign, whatever. The more torque you use, the more instant oomph off the line, the faster by a long shot you're burning tire tread. And the thing is with tires, many of these factors work together. So if you have heavy weight or even oversized weight, and now you're adding that excessive torque to that weight, You're just compounding the speed in which you're using your tires up. There's plenty of studies out there that will tell you could be losing dozens, if not hundreds, hundreds of miles off your tires by doing a single burnout. Number 4, which is kind of a cousin to the excessive torque, and that is excessive speed. Going back to the 2 things that lead to tire deterioration, which are friction and heat. The faster you drive, the faster you burn your tread. In addition to the faster you pick up that speed, which is the torque we just mentioned. Every tire on it has stamped somewhere what its max speed should be. And part of that is not just the safe speed which a tire would burst, but actually it starts to deteriorate slightly and the rubber starts breaking down again because of that heat. It's actually causing your tire to lose its integrity internally, which is then just gonna cause normal driving to burn away that now decreased structural integrity of the actual tire. So to save your tire life, drive a little bit slower, take off a little bit slower. And that leads me to number 5, stop slower. What's almost near as bad as taking off fast or driving at excessive speeds are stopping at really fast speeds. You slam on the brakes and you look back behind you, those little rubber streaks, well, those little rubber streaks are your tire. A lot of tires you just literally left on the road. If you're in an electric car, again, like my Cybertruck, and I'm working on another video which I'll talk about ways to expand your range, get the most out of a single charge, you should hardly at all be touching your brakes. Your regenerative braking should be doing about 90 to 98% of your stopping. I will sometimes go entire trips, 20 miles, in and out of traffic, through roads, highways, back roads, alleys, and never once touch my brake. And it's no danger to anyone because that's how it's designed. And let's be honest, the main reason you'd be slamming on your brakes is you probably weren't paying attention to the road in front of you. And even if you're in a gasoline car like my F-150 here, learn to coast, learn to pay attention in traffic and let up on that accelerator and coast and not have to use that brake. The more aggressively and the more often you use that brake, you are literally leaving tire on the road. Number 6, one of the biggest no-nos yet I see done all the time. Nothing, and I mean literally nothing, including burnouts, burn tire faster than turning the wheel of your vehicle while you're stationary. So we've been talking about friction. Well, the problem is when you're totally still, you have the maximum amount of friction. As your wheels begin to roll, you actually have less friction as you turn the wheel. And normally when you'd make this mistake is when you're sitting in a parking lot or a driveway somewhere like this. So when I make this little turn here and I'm totally still and you see my wheel turn, not only am I burning rubber, but I'm burning rubber in one exact spot. What it's gonna do is cause an uneven distribution of wear, which is gonna lead to yet more wear. So if you're going to be turning tight in a small area like this, even the slightest bit of movement when you go to turn that wheel is better than nothing. So as I begin to turn towards your direction, even though I want to make a sharp turn, I want to start moving even ever so slightly first. So as I begin to go forward, now I'm turning this wheel, and just this little trick right here is going to maximize your tire life.
This becomes especially important here as I'll demonstrate making a multi-point turn. So as I begin to go forward, I roll ever so slightly before turning. Again, here I go in reverse, the beginning to roll, then the turning of the tire. And the same when straightening back up to go forward, begin rolling, then make that turn. This little simple trick will drastically improve your tire life.
Number 7, and things that burn through your tires faster are poor road conditions. Dirt roads, gravel roads, torn up roads with potholes, even like jagged, icy roads. Those things will all just tear through your tires. Even sand under a microscope is incredibly sharp when you look at it in all its little detail and can excessively wear tires. So maybe think twice about taking your car off-road or down that bumpy road or in and out of a gravel driveway every day, just knowing that is wearing down your tire at a quicker rate. Then there's the obvious fact that the rougher, the bumpier, the more jagged the road, the higher the risk of actually puncturing your tire, which of course leads to premature tire failure. Number 9, fixed damaged, punctured, or leaking tires ASAP. And there's kind of 2 parts for this. If you have a flat tire, if you notice you are rapidly losing air pressure, do not drive on that tire any more than is absolutely necessary. Now, of course, get off the road safely. You don't want to get rear-ended while trying to prolong tire life. But any amount of distance driving on your tire more than absolutely necessary is exponentially eating up tire life. When your tire collapses and it gets low, you're rubbing now on sidewalls that you should not be rubbing on, creating excess heat. You're touching the tire to the ground at different spots, different placements, different pressures than it ever should be. you're just causing all kinds of problems. In addition, you could be causing alignment issues. Then you could be looking at causing all of your other 3 tires in addition to your now flat one to wear unevenly because of the alignment failures can happen just during that short 100 yards, couple hundred yards, better yet, miles on a flat tire. Don't do that. The second part of that is that slow leak tire. Maybe you caught a nail, maybe you have a bad rim, you can't figure out what it is. Address that sooner than later. I have a terrible habit of just adding air to my tires every couple months or weeks or even every few days when I've had a slow leak in the past. That is killing your tire. The next point we're gonna get to, which is one of the most important, is proper inflation. There's no way you're keeping proper inflation if you're adding air to your tire every couple months, weeks, or even days. I am not against patching tires. In fact, I am for it. I've done it. I'll continue doing it. If ever it's even remotely humanly possible, I will patch a tire. If your tire is fixable, fix it as soon as possible. Next, which is one of the most important without a doubt, but yet one of the most neglected, and that is making sure your tires are properly inflated. Now, of course, you don't want to overinflate your tires. To be honest with you, I almost never see that, and it's almost hard to do. Being underinflated risks your tire life much more dramatically. But that being said, overinflating your tires causes significant safety risk. Don't overinflate past what the rated max PSI stamped on the side of every single tire. Never under any circumstance exceed that. The other bonus of properly inflated tires, you're gonna add to your range. The higher the PSI your tire has, the better range you'll get. Because the more inflated your tire is, there's less friction. You're gonna get more roll, more coast out of it, which is better for your range, it's more efficient, and it's gonna save life on your tire. The fact that it's all hitting the road at an even spot. Even this little air compressor I saw on the side of the road the other day when I was putting a little air in one of my tires had little labels on it pointing out the importance of properly inflating your tire. Now again, if you're buying your tires from a big warehouse, a common chain like a discount tire, they'll likely check your tire pressure and add or inflate and deflate based on the season for you for absolutely no charge. Of 2-3 vehicles, it'll probably be worth your money to buy an air compressor, even if it's not like a really expensive one, that you can regularly check and adjust the pressure of your tires. And I don't want to get lost in the physics here, but there is something called the ideal gas law. I think I can break down and explain in simple terms. Temperature and pressure are always attached to one another. The higher the pressure, the higher the temperature, the lower pressure, the lower the temperature. So my background in air conditioning proves this every day. When I want to make a house cool, I drop the pressure of the refrigerant and the temperature goes with that. Which means from time to time, you may want to adjust the pressure in your tires based on season. It is not an uncommon thing at all for me to sit here at 5,280 feet in Colorado. I can drive an hour and be at somewhere that's 14,000 feet above sea level. When I'm decreasing barometric pressure, as I rise up with the thinner air, I'll drop pressure in my tires. And also as I go higher in that thinner air, it gets colder outside. Why? The drop in pressure equals a drop in temperature. Those two are always tied together, which would be why if you think back, you're much more likely to have that little exclamation point, that little low air sign pop up when it's cold outside or early in the morning, and it might go away as it gets later in the day as it gets warmer. And last but not least, number 10, buy the right tire. Do some homework. Just because you're saving 10% up front with the initial cost of a tire, it's not gonna do you any good if it gives out 20, 30% sooner. Now, I went into this in great deal in my last video when I talked about the tires I just bought for my Cybertruck. Many sites have different tools now, and you can always look up and Google the specs of tires that are available and the size you're looking for. But one of the key metrics I always look for is tire depth, and more specifically, how long is this tire rated for miles-wise? If you want to see a little bit longer synopsis, you can check out that last video I just posted, and I'll go through even more depth of walking through the discount tire website where you can see all different kind of comparisons and specs, and one of those is how long should this tire last me? And while I know that's a lot of information, and you might be a little suspect on some of those, I guarantee you they're all true, and it may be no one of those makes a huge difference, but if you start compiling a few of those together, I think it's totally reasonable. Each of those, some more than others, they could be adding anywhere from 1% up to 5, 6, 7% just by adjusting that. You add all those together, I do think it's a very realistic thing. You could be getting thousands upon thousands more miles per the life of each tire you buy and saving you money. As I mentioned earlier, on a video I have coming very soon, I've been working on, I'll talk about how to maximize your range, specifically pertaining to electric vehicles but actually is very relatable to even all the gasoline power engines out there. So if you're wanting to learn how to get the most efficiency, the longest range out of your car, in addition to getting the best efficiency, the longest range out of your tire, make sure you subscribe because that video is coming here shortly. And in fact, once I get it up here, it'll be right up here on this part of the screen. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.